Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Fallout New Vegas. I wanted to start on the main menu here just to once again highlight like what the mood is and what the settings are of the main game of Fallout New Vegas versus really all four of the DLC. I would say Old World Blues is somewhat in line with the rest of New Vegas, but it's still fairly different. But I would also say that this Sierra Madre DLC we're doing is by far one of the most different, in that you just have a dark red sky and a tiny little world that is much more about verticality inherently, just because all the other Fallout games and Bethesda games in general have been this way. You should have just had the game have single floors, and then you could have doubled the square footage of this DLC just by not going vertical. As much as I appreciate verticality, and eventually on newer games the expectation is that there would be a few floors of verticality in worlds, but this game is just too old to really have been that ambitious. And the vast majority of these higher upper buildings are not actually accessible. So that's an important part to also focus. Now this door looks like it might be accessible. So who knows if maybe you go around somehow and then you end up just in the second floor of a lot of places. Anyways, for the quest, we're going to get Dean Domino at his hideout in the residential district to be our third casino heist guy. And I'm assuming if there is going to be a bad guy that betrays me...
Picking up signals near your location. Detonators. Watch for traps.
Okay, we have Christine, a mute, brain-damaged Brotherhood of Steel scribe, which I'm not sure how much of that was Elijah's intent, was to make her mute and brain damaged. Now I would assume what is going on here is that there's a trap under this guy, but I guess not. I do see a trap here, as far as just a mine. So it definitely seems like this guy doesn't want anything to do with me. This is exactly what they said was going to happen as far as people betraying each other in this whole area. What would make a little bit more sense is if the whole collar thing was a new thing that had just been introduced by Elijah, and otherwise Elijah had just been bringing people and trying to coerce him with just words. Yeah. Seems like there's just two ways to go here. And we can see some visual glitching, and yeah, I'm gonna play the whole game with the flashlight on. And so this may just be a section here where there aren't really that many let's see. I'm playing on normal. And she's just going into the cloud, I think, to attack somebody else. I guess not. Hmm. We have kind of enough stim packs to make do. And I almost wonder if the cloud is going to just go away at some point. I hear somebody making noise. Okay, let's just go up here and see what we can find. And see if this is worth it. It might be a case that there is... This takes way too long to refill your health that way. This might be a case where we would just gain an ability at the end of the game to run around all the poison cloud sections and not be hurt by it. I do kind of like these smaller sections though. Yeah, the smaller chest of drawers here, dressers, nightstands. They're harder to see just by size, but they're easier to place, and instead of being giant cabinets like these, although really the dressers are probably better off. There's like always at least one Sierra Madre chip here. Just look at how much health that took just checking that out. And finding all these little cloud things are not worth really grabbing. Our mute character just signals. Things, and I'm not even gonna be able to pay attention to that. Whatever she's signaling. Looking for traps still, too. So what the radio station would have us here is hearing the guy talk. I wonder if maybe he's figured out a way to take his voice and put it through radio, and we're gonna find out that the last guy we're looking for isn't actually here. And I wonder... Yeah, here we can hear him. Let's see. I don't think it's worth it to go and investigate the rest of this area. But maybe it is. Yeah, damaging those guys is easy enough with this cosmic knife. I don't think it's really a great move that these loose limbs, and then you have little bits of bodies flying around like this. I think the limbs should probably be, well, it would just be easier overall to have them always stay attached, because then you just can get the game approved in places like Japan easier, which I'm sure when they were making this game they probably didn't care as much about that. So all of these are traps. Need to be more careful about walking directly into a trap. I guess there might be some small advantage to disarming the traps and getting a few XP. Still not sure that there's really anything here I would want. Let's see, if we return casual wear, we get a jar of cloud residue and 4 Sierra Madre, which I think is more valuable than what casual wear would get us anyways. We return this, we get 2 Sierra Madre chips only if they're dirty. So maybe the cloud residue was because I just picked up some this. And that gets us 80 chips. I'll make 12 more stim packs. There is a slight concern here that what would happen is you would possibly run out of you could possibly run out of Sierra Madre chips if you really need them for something. Again, keep an eye out for traps. Otherwise, this is just a very much a hidden game experience. Let's see, and trying to see where her health is doesn't always work. Whoops, there was 5 XP lost. And it seems like we're kind of above the clouds at the moment. Doesn't seem like it's really hurting me. Of course, it's important to remember that if I die, the last save point is going to be a while from this point. And yeah, the internal lighting, whether intentional or not, is just not acceptable to me. It's just too dark. I guess maybe you have to be crouched down to get the mines because you just need to be lower to the ground. And this game has never been really much on the idea of having things in the corner. Well, there are things in the corner, I guess, all the time, but they tend not to be super well hidden things in the corner. I'm trying to play this as thoroughly as possible. Am I getting poisoned while I'm lockpicking? I would imagine not, since the background is showing everything being done, or freezing. I almost did die there. So I'm hoping I've found everything and got everything, but I'm not sure. Like, it totally is possible that on the way out I would walk down a path and trigger something. Unless I'm very mistaken, there are just like no skill requirements to be able to disarm any of these things. So, because that would be fairly unfair to, and there's where we started. It would be rather unfair to the players if you knew that there was a bomb or mine next to you, but you just couldn't disarm it. I wonder if perhaps the challenge is not so much to use the same vending machines as it is to use each of the vending machines once. If that's the case, I probably walked by at least one in another area, and it wouldn't be worth it to go back. I already know I'm not getting all the achievements in this game, so I don't expect that I'll get all the challenges done in this DLC for that reason alone. Bullet holes on a wooden structure. Whoops. Yeah. These shotguns should have a wider spread. They should hit you. I'm playing on normal. Like, shouldn't be able to just accidentally walk in a corner and not get hit. Okay, so it was just a card there. So clearly this is a path with all the traps. My only thought would be if there was another doorway to anything. And there was. definitely is a level designed around just having little alcoves, which could have been an experiment in part to have some monster spawning locations that weren't just closets but were instead full-on areas where you just wouldn't see. Your eyes would, you would just not be looking in an area and it would know you're not looking in an area, and then it would spawn some new enemies. Here's a question: can I jump to this spot? Yes. Did I need to jump to that spot? Apparently not. Bobby pins, which are going to be impossible to pick up. It does highlight a thing as far as how these DLCs are on an older game like this compared to what I really would like to see in DLC. If you're going to sell DLC, it's a shame that I'm even making the argument that DLC is acceptable at all, because certainly that was the stance, that DLC was just content that was more than likely removed from the final product and potentially was even finished and completely as polished as it could have been from the initial project. Let's see. Disarm this pressure plate. Interesting, she just walked by a mine and that did nothing. But yeah, if I am going to see DLC in a game, I would expect it to be more of an extension of what the game offers and not something completely different. I would want it to feel like more of the same for people who are happy with the content that they already had in the main game, not feel like a soft pitch for a sequel or a spin-off game or a completely different game. And I can't help but suspect that the purpose of DLC content has changed. Interesting. Rydo.
Even if they don't, they still might.
Yeah. Originally, I would imagine DLC actually was content that they made the main game, and put it in what they call the Gold Master state, or just make the Gold Master, and then that has to be sent for a longer process of being tested and approved by consoles. Nowadays, I'm not sure how much the consoles actually test and approve, because everything is now just patchable, and the day one patch of games fixes a lot of problems, and that doesn't have to be tested. It's not being held to the same standard by the console makers. And then DLC would have been content that wouldn't have made it into the Gold Master because they were just running behind or it would have been made by a third party and at a slower pace. Now, the argument to be made here that very few people I think ever caught on to is that DLC more than likely, pre the concept of DLC, would have been content just held back for a sequel or for a completely different game. It's not really the case that that work was just getting thrown in the trash. Not by any means. Thought that was a gun trap, but it's just a glitchy visual. And when you look at Bethesda games in particular, it is nice that there really are only 2 or 3 of these types of graffitis. They didn't go super crazy with them. Like 4 or 5 different people leaving 4 or 5 different types of graffitis. When you specifically look at Bethesda games, though, and their consistent bugginess on their engine, clearly they should have focused on improving that faster than hiring third-party companies to make DLC or making DLC themselves. Of course, I can't really deny that there is a kind of high amount of emptiness. See, he says I should have never set that radio signal on repeat. So I think that's what we're going to find here, is that there's just going to be a radio signal. You can mass purify water. We can do that quite a lot. We haven't really used the ghost sight vision. Wish I was better about seeing when the thing says it's empty. It should probably just be a different color, like dimmer or something. I guess it is also worth pointing out that I am still
never have set that radio signal on repeat.
I still am just playing with the green Pip-Boy. Oh, that really was just a game-breaking, lore-breaking change to have it be orange instead of green. Clearly there's some elements here that Obsidian wanted to make their own.
Keep rolling in.
Okay, so where is the trap, though? Interesting. He looks like he's actually breathing. He's a ghoul.
Have a seat. Came all this way. Least I can do is let you rest your feet for a second. Suitcase empty. Okay. Let's just sit down. The Sierra Madre. Beauty, isn't she?
I was expecting him not to be here.
Or maybe you didn't catch her voice on the radio. Woke up confused like some of the others. Least you're still breathing. By the way, don't get up or make any sudden motions, no matter how uncomfortable that chair gets. The cushion's just for show.
Let's see. Explosives here better be a shape charge or you're gonna kill us both.
Sounds like you've done some blue-collar construction work in your life. Your ma must be proud. Still, get up without my permission. I'll blast your ass so far through your head, it'll turn the moon cherry pie red.
This is interesting dialogue.
into
countering
light
Christine's
and
lack
finish
of
our
dialogue.
conversation with no misunderstandings.
Speech, I'll save my questions for the end. Please go on. Speech check 25. That gives us XP, so we have to choose this, even if we didn't.
And that's what I've missed, a rapt audience. Just because I work in entertainment doesn't mean I'm a moron. I heard my necktie beeping. I know what that means. I'm part of this somehow. I want out of this contract. And if you put me in it, I'm not going to be too happy. So whatever's going on here, if you're part of all this, you're taking orders from me.
Let's see. Barter 50.
What are you talking about?
Let's see. Let's just go with the top one. Like, seems like there's no difference in these two lines of dialogue. Yep. Inherently, I don't believe video game actors write lines twice as much as these video game dialogue things would suggest. Which I guess means I don't believe they naturally write lines twice. I feel like they actually have to spend the extra effort to write two different lines of dialogue that mean the exact same thing. Whereas most writers for a TV show or movie would be thinking on the lines of, I want the best line of dialogue always, and very possibly you're going to write a script and hand it to somebody else to punch it up, rewrite it for even better lines of dialogue, getting every single sentence to be as good as possible. Video games giving you two options seems like a very arbitrary decision, arbitrary choice.
That's an interesting clause. That's a real bad contract you have. We have. All right. Looks like marriage finally caught me. I'm listening, partner. What's next if we're death till we part?
Let's see. Meet me back at the fountain and we'll hear what the next step is. We need to find out more about our contract in the fountain. Again, just two lines of dialogue here. Let's take the bottom one.
Not leaving me much choice. The fountain, huh? Hope the hologram's still working and the battery's running strong. I'll follow you. I'm not going alone, trust me. Not like I'm a coward or anything. I'm not running around town without an escort. I'm serious. One of the locals catches us, we aren't coming back. And I'd like to keep an eye on you.
Let's see. Let's ask if there's a reason. He's wearing these sunglasses. It'd be funny if a ghoul was blind. But yeah, it seems like the game is going to force us to have this guy be our new companion, which is fine because I was going to do that anyways.
I know what's out there. It's why I've planted a minefield, shotguns and explosives all the way on the road to my little boudoir here. So we go together or we're not going at all. I'll split my hand in blackjack when the time's right. I'm not splitting up in this town, trust me. All right. But you already got company, so tell you what. I'll meet you at the fountain. Don't have to take the long way back. There's a shortcut across the way, you see. It's through the cloud, but if I'm with you, I can help you through it. If you didn't already force the lock to the gate.
And yeah, so he's not really our companion, but he had us follow him. And then it loads here. I'm a little surprised I can hit him. Notice how that just like teleported me right next to him. And see, here's an example of what I was talking about. Not really a monster closet, but an actual just alcove where monsters can spawn when you're not looking. Although, I don't know if they really spawn that much. Let's get about 4 more, just so we know. Okay. So before I do anything else, do we have let's see.
If it isn't the... We'll see.
Okay. So we talked to Christine, which is not much talking. And then...
One's insides would look like laid out different. If it isn't the...
And then I'm gonna just
All of
take
your weapons will do. And your
everything in his inventory. Which is probably a mistake doing this, but whatever. And does he not take like a single weapon? Yeah, there's not a single weapon that he can use. Which would make me assume there's also not a single item he can wear. Which I don't really have that many options anyways as far as items.
If it isn't the clever... You... Well...
Okay. So let's talk to this guy.
Well, now, if it isn't my ball, chain, and dog collar rolled all into one.
So let's just ask all the questions here.
Tourists, you bet. They don't stay long, and they don't stay alive long.
And I would assume he's just
If
kind
they
of
survive the cloud, the ghost people,
immune
the
to
traps,
the
then
cloud
greed takes over.
as a ghoul.
And they start sizing each other up for funeral suits. Sure. First they figure they can get out, escape. Then they start thinking it over. Start thinking about how they can have it all. They start weighing the odds, taking risks, and then taking each other out. Bomb collars are not. Although, it's odd. The bomb collars weren't linked before like they are now. Guess someone learned what the problem was. Dead. Either got
Let's
killed
just
by
exhaust
one
all
of
the
the
dialogue here.
locals or the beautiful weather.
Same line of
Can
dialogue,
tell
or
you
same
right now,
idea at
they
least.
didn't stick close to each other, and when they did, they let down their guard at the wrong moment. Some left signposts to others trying to help them out. Just led to them getting killed by someone a little more greedy than they were. Well, considering my life's on the line too, yeah, a few things. First off, keep everyone together. Keep checking behind you. Make sure your partners are following. Don't let them wander. Also, don't go running crazy everywhere. Almost every inch of this town is lethal. So if you're not sure, take it real slow. And speaking of slow, don't go shouting or attracting attention. Go quiet. The ghost people find you, it's over.
So yeah, this is the kind of help that would have been helpful if we had gotten it first.
Alive's a tricky word. The locals, the ghost people? Not
I
sure
wonder
it
if that maybe
applies
implies that there's
They're a little
3 acts in this DLC.
uncivilized. They don't talk much. As in at all. Tried talking to them, bribing them, leaving food. Nothing. In the years since, they haven't changed their approach, but I sure have. They catch you, they drag you into the cloud, and you're not coming back out. After that, having your necktie go off would be mercy. My advice? Stay out of their way. They don't die easy.
They keep saying that they're tough. They seem to be super easy, even on normal difficulty. They were a little difficult on very hard, which does imply that the game is expecting you to just play on very hard. And yeah, maybe that's just because I have a lot of perks and my skills are at the max. But as far as my level, if that affected how much damage I did, which it doesn't, that wouldn't be a factor.
You shoot them, they get back up. You stab them, they get back up. That's why I have explosives all over this place. Unless you blow them up, chop them up, disintegrate them, the ghost people don't go down. Not enough
The
bullets in
cosmic
the town
blade
to spend on them. So unless
must
you're
be
a
unique.
real good shot, save one for yourself right before they catch you. Well, you seem like you know how to handle yourself. All right. Once I fired a lucky shot, hit a gas tank one was holding, blew his arm off at the shoulder, and he didn't get back up after that. So if you're that good, don't aim for the head, aim for their bombs. And if you can wait until his buddies are close by, even
I don't even
better.
see any bombs, so I wonder if there's just a whole another class of ghost people we haven't even seen yet.
Friend, there's more mysteries in heaven and earth. Wait, no. There is more between heaven and earth. Oh, forget it. I'd sooner ask what makes me an undying son of a bitch than spend any thought as to why they crawl to life here. I'm counting myself lucky I still have my faculties. They sure don't. Then again, they may not have had the focus I do. Always had the Sierra Madre to keep my mind occupied. Most folks, they don't have the same drive, the same need. Not worth my time. Pretty much ghost people before the bomb, now ghost people after.
At a certain point, I could see just letting him have whatever treasure is in the Sierra Madre. I don't think any of the other characters really care about it, and I personally don't.
Whatever we do, don't rile them up. Normally there's only a few, maybe a pack. There's more out there, a lot more. If they find out someone's trespassing, it'd be shaking a hornet's nest. Don't want to think how many of them could fill these streets. Of course you do. Let's hear them.
Found one of your stashes. So he's the one leaving the stashes.
Why? Survival. I still needed to leave the residential area to scrounge up supplies, and I don't like taking chances.
I
The
found
villa's
like 8 of his
dangerous.
12 stashes.
So I left weapons and stims in case I got in a tight spot. And of course you show up putting your mitts on everything. I suppose this qualifies as an emergency, so I'm not complaining much.
So, one of the things that this is kind of unique about is that it's explaining why there would be stashes, whereas the rest of the game, it's just generally assumed that there's items all over the place for fairly natural reasons.
I still need to eat. At least I think I do. The villa provides, even if it's not as glamorous as the Cantina Madrid. Once I, well, realized what you could scrounge up around here, I had a lot of time to experiment. Not the best chef, but, well, here's the mix, if you can stomach it. I call it a Sierra Madre Martini. Scrape some cloud residue off the walls, mash it in a tin can with some junk food from the machines, and hold your nose and down it. There's electric hot plates around if you can't find a campfire to mix it at. Also, there's other recipes you can do with the cloud residue, although it might take a hardier survivalist than me to brew them. I stick to martinis.
So we're gonna get some new recipes here. Dean's taught you this Sierra Madre perk, allowing you to mix cloud residue and junk food in a tin can at a campfire electric hot plate for a surprisingly strong, restorative, and disgusting drink.
It's your time, and if you want to...
So give me the other recipes. I guess I have to go and exhaust all of the rest of these dialogues.
Those little company stores. Sinclair's toy boxes. Put in a casino chip, get a treat. Like you're some dog doing tricks. Take any of the casino chips, put them into the machine, and you'll get something out. A snack, a cola, something to mend a tear in your shirt. Sometimes you have to know exactly what to ask for. Other times, there's codes for, unconventional items. For emergencies. Yeah, well, machines like those weren't unusual before the bomb. Maybe to you they're amazing. To me, they're grifters without the personality. Sinclair made sure if you spent money here, it went one direction. Although that's not how he described it. Called it self-sufficient. Like he was doing the residents a favor. Right. If it's an emergency, you can get chems for any, condition. Sinclair left that for doctors and trained professionals, not the common folk. Even security and maintenance could get special supplies out of them. Staff had codes on little cards they could use to unlock them.
So he's basically telling you to search the clinic and police station.
Around. Don't have much use for them myself. Not worth the risk to get them. I got all the basics covered as long as I have the chips to pay for them. I don't need much.
The bigger question, I guess, would be...
Of course you do. Let's hear them.
Is somebody dropping chips somewhere?
The cloud?
Otherwise, you'd think somebody would have just collected all of them and they would have been gone.
I got used to it in small doses. Now it covers the city. Over the years, it kept climbing up out of the Sierra Madre until it was curtains for the sun. Didn't see the sky again. Doesn't seem to bother the ghost people. Can't see through it too well, though, so sometimes I can use the cloud for cover. If I get desperate. Of course you do. Let's hear him.
That whole line of dialogue was pointless. Other than just getting story.
Residential area, clinic, police station. Should keep away from the police station. It's a ghost people hangout. Salida del Sol, Puesta del Sol are East Town, West Town. Sunrise and sunset. Or were when the streets and sky weren't covered with toxic gas. Ghost people don't come into the villa much. West Town and East Town, though, they're thick with the cloud and ghost people.
That's what I
Like
assumed.
hunting grounds. Of course you do. Let's hear them.
Let's ask what weapons he's skilled with.
Not one for fighting, if we can avoid it. Still, wasn't bad at the pistol range. And over the years, I've learned how to handle a knife. And explosives a bit. A bit. Made a lot of mistakes along the way. Still have my fingers, though. Strike up the band. Domino's back in town.
So he gives me the unclean living perk. This perk grants you a short period of time before taking a toxic cloud damage, reducing the amount of damage you take inside a toxic clouds. That is exactly what we want. And then we will just give him all of this, and then we will take back anything he's not actually going to equip. Am I doing this wrong? I think I might be. Yeah, because I feel like, well, there's kind of no point in giving them reading glasses. Or even the jumpsuit. Yeah.
Let's deal.
So he does have a police pistol, which he is now carrying. Interesting. Alright. So I must have just been a little confused there as far as how all that really is going to break down. Okay. And so now there is an argument around taking some junk food. Let's take 15 junk food.
Those machines, Sinclair's little gift.
And we're over encumbered now, so now would be the time to just work with this. Can't repair the automatic rifle. Bear trap fist. Let's get one in good condition. What we need is to find a container.
If you need food, stims, put in a chair.
Yeah.
Hold out your hand.
Every other DLC has had some kind of container. Here we go. Over here.
What's next?
This will be our dump container. So we have a perfect condition automatic rifle. We have a perfect condition. That C4 explosives we can sell. Caravan shotgun we don't need to keep. Cosmic knives, though, I do want to keep. Just all of them. We don't want to use any of them. Frag grenades we can get rid of. Gas bombs, we'll keep one. We'll keep the hollow rifle on us. Knife spears also have this argument to be kept. Although I don't know if I really need that many knife spears. And if I think about it on that same thought, maybe I don't really need the cosmic knives either. You know what? I just won't deal with it at the moment because it just doesn't matter. I'll put this police pistol and then throwing knife spheres. Put that away. And then we will just take all the glasses. There. Then I know there's just not going to be a lot of crafting stuff. This acoustic guitar, I'm still not sure what the whole deal with that is. Should I carry it around, taking up 3 points? Should I carry around a Braxo cleaner? Well, we can get rid of bent tin cans. Blank magazines, we know what that's all about. Cameras, we can get rid of. Chessboards, clipboards, coffee pots, coffee mugs, conductors, cups, cutting boards, duct tape, clipboards, this. We're not going to make any of those items, I suspect. Yeah, I kind of just don't think it's worth holding much of any of this. And by dropping most of these items into the dump pile, I am now in a much better position. We'll keep the tin cans. Yeah, barely have any cases and holes at all. So we'll keep the tin cans, the sensor modules, the cloud residue, and that. And then, let's see. As far as this, I will keep one of these cloud kisses. And then, I think I already have an absinthe. I know we already have beer. Blamco. We'll keep the books. Probably could get rid of dirty waters, doctor's bags. Although, why am I not selling those? Yeah. And it probably would be better to get rid of the magazines too. That'll just make it easier. Again, why not sell those, however? The real problem that you run into with this is what I'm selling is just going to be turned into pre-war yeah, it would just be turned into pre-war money, which really only helps us a small bit. Okay, so I guess I'm trying to think what to do here. I guess the move is to probably just dump everything that we just don't care about in here and not bother with selling it. and then we'll come back and sell things later. That gets me to 104. And then that just keeps everything in kind of a nice spot here. If I needed pre-war money, but yeah, just selling things and trading things for pre-war money means I just have to trade things at other shops and sell the pre-war money somewhere else. And so the whole system still is kind of broken. Yeah.
You sure came a long way to rob this place.
Yeah. All I could do is buy this. And we can sell frag grenades. We can sell frag mines. Let's maybe not sell frag grenades. I'm just keeping a lot of items in my inventory. I think for a mistake, a bad reason. Right. Would I actually even use frag grenades is the question. And it's not like any of these are in great shape, so I would need let's start with this. That was way too much. And this is a crazy system because yeah, I could be 20 off, I could be 40 off. 62 is too much. 47 is not enough. 15 is not enough. 12. Okay. So exactly 2. Yeah, and that's just way too much work. Way too much work to just end up with buying a small amount of pre-war money.
Guess
And apparently I just totally missed that. And is there a hot plate?
getting real tired of tourist season. No offense, but you guys are lowering the bar.
Okay. So we can craft 19 of these martinis. I was so busy looking downward I didn't see the Sierra Madre chips. I guess the question to ask here is, am I low on junk food? I have like 1 junk food, so there's something else. We must be low on jars of cloud. Okay, so I think we've balanced out as much as we can. And it does seem crazy that you just can't buy and craft all at one location. This definitely feels to me like they totally just had somebody in game development showed off an early version of BioShock, or maybe even BioShock came out and they decided to rip it off completely. Although I often get that feeling, and in reality it's very possibly a case where a team was hired to work on a game, and then that just didn't, that the work they didn't end up in the game, so they put it in a different game. Guess we'll just hold on to everything. The one thing I was going to do is put the Sierra Madre martinis, at least one of them, in here so we know we have it. Okay, so our quest here is speak to Elijah for further instructions, and we will do that, but I want to take a bit of a break, and this is as good of a place as any. One assumes it's going to have us either go here or here, possibly both in either direction. One assumes that this is a more difficult section, fighting more of the ghosts, and then eventually we just go to the Sierra Madre, which I assume is a just very large internal building, although you've got this whole map here, so it might just reveal a lot. I don't think there is much this way. I think that is just the exit. So this probably is the beginning of a short Act 2, and then Act 3 is the Sierra Madre. Alright, so I'm going to pause the recording, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back now, so let's see what Elijah has to say. Father Elijah. There's just a whole projector hidden down under this.
Good. Well done. Now for the festivities and your part in all this. The owner of the Sierra Madre, for whatever reason, keyed the grand opening to the gala event itself. It needs to be fired off in order for the casino doors to open. As I've discovered, one person can't do it. So get your team into position indicated on your Pip-Boy, then trigger it properly. You're so close now, don't let me down. Otherwise, I'll have to rely on the next team.
So, not too wordy here, and I kind of think we may end up just having all three companions follow us, even though the game doesn't seem like by default it is programmed to allow for multiple human companions, although we definitely have seen at least 2 human companions before. It is also worth mentioning that there is a mod where you could just have as many companions as you would want, which I imagine would just make a very messy event if you were actually fighting enemies that way, them blowing each other up and such. I also kind of wonder here if we're going to need to pick specific companions for specific locations to get the best ending.
I've unlocked the west and east gates to Puesta del Sol and Salida del Sol. Now that you've survived the villa, I need to get to my position. You don't need me to hold your hand anymore. I'll keep monitoring you via the transceivers through the villa. If I need to offer guidance, I will.
And we have no idea what the gala event is.
A display of lights, fireworks, music in the streets. A pre-war festival to mark the casino's opening. The bomb struck first. It is of no consequence, only firing the event is. Get the three in position, then travel to your position in Salida del Sol and trigger the gala. After that, the real work begins.
So, yeah. It sounds to me like when we set off all the fireworks and lights, that's when we're gonna have a whole bunch of ghost people show up.
Perhaps you think this is a simple robbery, a cheap casino heist. No, this is a heist of the centuries. We're not plundering Sierra Madre, we're plundering history, taking from the old world itself. It won't let its secrets go easily, not without a fight. I wouldn't expect anything less. I'd suggest taking the FEV reject to his position first. Although you may need his brutality and strength elsewhere first. As easy as the villa was to navigate, the outlying areas of the villa are far more dangerous, thicker with the ghost people, traps, and toxins. Use your team as I use you. Listen to your caller. Watch where you step. You are no use to me dead.
So the game is basically having to remind me about the whole speakers and things, because that just really hasn't even happened. Okay. So we didn't see the map here so much. It's telling me to take dog this way, storyline wise. Okay, fine. Although we're actually taking dog.
So, are we on our way to somewhere else? A gala event, perhaps?
So ask him some questions.
The gala event is the way to bring the old man out. He won't show himself until the casino doors are open. So triggering the event is key. And the key. The question becomes, can we trust each other to do this? We'll see.
See, and I
If
want
we
to
go
side
there,
with
you'll
this
have
guy.
to give me control. If you bring Dog out, then I'll make sure you pay in blood.
Yeah. My fear is that Elijah would show up and God here would just attack him and then kill us all. Or try.
Dog might know more. You should ask him. Beware the answer, because I think Dog got hungry. He couldn't help himself. I tried. I always try. And he keeps giving in. Maybe it's familiar, comfortable. Practice makes perfect. And as much as it bruises my ego, some things require brute strength. In the right combination. Besides, none of your assembled band of thieves look able to rip a 200-year rusted power switch down like a machete to fire up an entire town. We'll see.
So is he following me?
If it isn't the...
Yeah, we have to select this other one, I guess.
Maybe Dog will obey you. I'm not as easily broken. You're a brave one.
I feel like we've already asked all these questions. And still they're not getting marked as...
More. We'll see.
Okay. So the quest says dog. And I just don't think I can convince
If it
this
isn't
guy.
Order.
Apparently I got some perk there. And got him to follow. Interesting. Wasn't really expecting that to work. I was thinking I was going to have to do something else. Because I thought that tactics in particular was just leading to me telling him to take more of an aggressive stance. Okay, so we have to now place each of these people. Is this spawning new items, or did I simply just not find those cans?
The idiot swallowed his collar.
We never went any further than this. 0% chance of hitting, 95% chance of hitting. Ghost Trapper is unconscious. Ghost Trapper is dead.
Almost got away. Then the idiot screws it up.
So all of a sudden the Cosmic Knife doesn't seem like it is capable of doing as much damage as it once was. We'll just come over here. I feel like the move here is to probably just always buy, well, one junk food, maybe one stim pack. And I do want to keep just an eye on where we're going and what we're finding. Definitely feels like there's a limited number of...
That Pip-Boy. Maybe I'll tear it off your arm.
This guy in particular is super annoying because he talks way too much. And yeah, I don't think the game needs to hide things, small things like that, behind. There's possibly a thought that TVs would have been a danger. Yeah, I definitely question if you're gonna end up just wandering around collecting little items for very little reason.
That Pip-Boy. Maybe I'll tear it off your arm. Wear it on my neck.
Here we have a open door. It looks like it's already been emptied, because it has. We haven't used the holographic gun at all, so it might be an interesting thought.
Believe the idiot swallowed his collar.
Just come over here and take the holo rifle and see how this plays. Hiding one cap where it would be difficult to see. I'm just trying to
The idiot swallowed his collar.
investigate whether these are places I've already been. I think they are. This is like way too empty of a shelf. Yeah. I don't believe there was... I think there was cloud here. And now the cloud seems to be missing.
It's your own fault you're here. Couldn't leave well enough alone.
Yeah. So maybe the cloud is moving around. One would kind of assume that the cloud directly connects to... Am I going the right direction? Yeah. I would kind of assume it directly connects to whatever the Sierra Madre's treasure is.
Couldn't leave well enough alone. I'll end here.
Okay. So chest, let's just see what this does. Okay, so that's makes him unconscious.
There tastes like copper.
But so there is no fighting them with the hollow rifle at all. They've given you a pointless weapon that maybe would fight holograms, but holograms
That Pip-Boy.
we've only seen once, and we've just avoided it by using some hacking ability. I would have expected there to be more stores in the main game like this. Although I really was more happy with like the supermarket in Fallout 3, where the Super Duper Market or whatever it was called, where that was a much larger mission-based area. So I guess this was probably a tailor shop. Thus the hats and bobby pins. The deep breathing sound effect should pause at least when the character is speaking. Again, something just crammed in the corner. That's too extreme. And here, there's another secret stash. We already got it. So it does seem to me like it's going to be a bit of a challenge in that we'll want to kill the ghosts with the cosmic knife. So I've been using the cosmic knife clean. Let's see, that's 55 damage per second, 21 damage overall. The throwing knife sphere, 52 damage, but I wouldn't want to use that. The knife sphere is 33 damage per second. If I was to put it up to the highest amount of damage, it's 43 damage per second. The cosmic knife clean is still the better weapon. Okay. And so there's something up there. I guess the question is, how would you get up there?
It's your own fault you're here. Couldn't leave well enough
Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to jump from here to this angle, then jump across to that, but you know what? I think that actually is exactly what you're supposed to do. Right. Go up here.
That Pip-Boy.
Go through here.
Tear it off your arm. Wear it on my neck.
Whoops. I am not over encumbered, so I can jump. Did we get everything there?
It's your own fault you're here. Couldn't leave well enough alone.
There is kind of a delay in the jump. So that's why I'm failing here, and clearly this is not a game where platforming has ever really been a consideration. There is also a floatiness to your jumps. This is definitely another example of just where this DLC does not line up with the game you're playing. See, I'm trying to drag this and just drop it down there. And if you're going to introduce platforming and things like this, then you need to introduce the idea of breaking through windows and going into buildings. I feel like there's probably a significant lack of procedural generation as far as world design in this game. It's just an old enough game where it does feel like that wouldn't work. Right. Seems like this is a really far direction to go to end up at the switching station. So I don't know if there's just a lot to get distracted with, or if these quests are just going to have us need to find a key or something.
If we need to find, call Dog out. As much as I hate.
I didn't realize these guys could jump. Stay equals death, leave equals death. Right. So these guys are jumping around quite a bit. He was throwing spears, but I guess you can't pick up the spears. I definitely feel like they're programmed in a weird way. They definitely feel more like splicers from Fallout now, with the splicers in particular crawling on the metallic ceilings of areas. So this part requires a key. This part is also blocked off. Okay, and the audio
Valves around here to set traps of
Interesting, he's giving a hint. This door looks like a door you could open. So it says take things slow, but I kind of question whether that equates directly to stealthily.
It's your own fault you're here. Couldn't leave well enough alone.
We can get up higher. Which I guess lets us work our way around. By the way, remember the game said if you fell asleep you would die. I'm not sure if the game would really enforce that by killing you, or if it would just enforce it by not actually letting you sleep. There's another look upward section that would be easy to miss. We have one of each of the cue balls in this game. Not a full set.
If we need to fight, you should call Dog out. As much as I hate to admit it.
I am somewhat confused as far as what level would be the appropriate level to play this section. The rad roaches are super easy. Those ghost characters, not easy at all. Let's go ahead and disarm the trap. And then let's go back down on the ground here and see if we've really missed anything.
Happy you followed the Sierra Madre broadcast.
Walk right past the trap. Floors have teeth, it says. Stain page.
If we need to fight, you should call Dog out. As much as I hate to admit it.
Let's check what the stain page says. Not sure really what I was supposed to get from that. Make a caravan, lunch, make a martini. Then I guess at this point, if the martinis use cloud residue, making ghost light or cloud kiss doesn't make any sense. Could have easily stepped on that one. Just real inconsistency here as far as, are you supposed to be looking down for traps or are you supposed to be looking up for enemies? You really can't do both. Are you supposed to be wandering around the rooftops? Or are you supposed to be searching other ways, other locations? What this DLC weirdly proves, though, is that
Whatever it is,
even in an incredibly
waiting.
limited resources scenario, there isn't a full experience to be had here. Just make sure his health is good enough.
It's your own fault you're here. Couldn't leave well enough alone.
We will buy a bunch of stim packs. At a certain level, it might be kind of a great idea to come back to this DLC area later just to get a bunch of stim packs. Although once I'm done with this DLC, I'm pretty much done with the whole game. Although I'm still not sure about the dry wells in the Long 15. Just trying to see everything. It feels like the lights may be coming on as we approach areas, but I don't think that's actually the case. That would be a way in which they could maybe reduce the amount of lighting. Okay.
That Pip-Boy. Maybe I'll tear it off your arm, wear it on my neck.
So, to go this way, which seems like a thing, I've got to either unpower it or run. Let's make a safety save and see what running does.
That easily. The idiot swallowed his collar.
Okay, that didn't work. I see a red.
Why do you keep looking at your Pip-Boy? It won't help. Didn't help the old man.
So this got me where I needed to go, but didn't let me go as thoroughly as I would have wanted to go.
Almost got away. The idiot's hunger screws it up.
That we can see that there's okay. See, why even bother telling me those perks? Why not just stop the whole game? Okay, so try that again.
That easily. We'll need to move faster than this if we're going to outwit the old man.
Okay. And see, he's over there, so theoretically the bomb should be beeping like crazy. And he should be dying, and it seems pretty obvious that's not what's gonna happen. One vodka.
As much as I hate to admit it.
This is taking me inside the house, which is not what I expected. And I wasn't expecting this.
That Pip-Boy. Maybe I'll tear it off your arm. Wear it.
Here we have another one of these vents, which, even if there is actually a perk that lets you crawl through these vents, they are so infrequent, it's not worth it. there's different classes here of these ghosts. And setting myself on fire didn't do anything. Guess we're gonna take
Right behind you.
the different direction here. Just hope that this doesn't end up being a case where I end up going the wrong way and then getting no reward for going the wrong way. Beeping again definitely leaves me wondering as far as just, am I supposed to be running around avoiding the beeping, or is there some bigger twist to all of this where we can turn off these shielded radios? At a certain level, it does kind of feel that's not very well textured. Kind of feels like they wanted you to have no way of defeating the alarms and run. Of course, that directly contradicts the instructions of taking things slow. There's some more full balls we'll just pick up as this thing is slowly moving. That is kind of a good example of where VATS should really react and how it should play. Is that in VATS, one swing, one kill out of VATS very quickly should be the usual experience. And at a certain point, having to hit the right bump to go into VATS to attack, and then pulling the right trigger, then pressing A over and over again, or pulling the right trigger over and over again, then pressing A once. It's just a lot of button presses. A heck of a lot of button presses to attack, when maybe it should just be a menu option where when you attack, it queues up the attack automatically instead of actually executing the attack. So you would see an enemy, you'd hit right trigger, right trigger, right trigger, then it would happen. Which, I don't know how that would be much different than just when you're not in VATS. Yeah, but I would definitely seek out a way of merging the real-time fighting with, right, again, make a safety save. This would really suck if we ended up having to right, that is one that we can actually shoot, so let's address that. Please pistol. Hotkey left. The planters aren't searchable. You would expect them to be searchable. I'm very much getting turned around. As far as just... Am I supposed to be going somewhere looking for a power switch to disarm things? Or am I looking for a key? Or am I simply just investigating an area that was just extra? So it's interesting to have a shopkeep, a store. Where'd that rad roach go?
I'll end you.
So there's a store here that either had a door here or I'm gonna get just some junk food. I don't think we even really need stim packs at this point. We'll save the caps. And we've got a new perk here we can take. So the question would be, what would be something to take? Never set off mines or floor-based traps. This would be a great perk to have had if there weren't other perks that were better. I question if maybe the sniper perk would have been better. Yeah. This is kind of the problem though, is a lot of these perks are better if you get them really, really early, but they're not good enough. So more than likely I'm taking this heavyweight perk. I don't think there's anything else new to pick. Of course, the first time around, when I came to level 50, I probably took the more interesting perks. Heavyweight is going to allow us to reduce our carry weight. Anything over 10 pounds weighs half as much. So let's just see what our carry weight now would be. And again, that might be very helpful. We're at like 195 now. This knife sphere is 9, so it was probably close to 15 or something before. This cast bomb is 10 pounds on the nose. But yeah, I am down to 195 pounds and I have quite a decent amount of items in my inventory. Enough now that I am not concerned by picking up all of these tin cans, even if some of them are bent tin cans. And so, if you needed to use all the vending machines in the game, I suspect that would have been the one most people would have missed. Let's go up here and see what else is possibly going to surprise us, if anything is going to surprise us. And picking up all of these books to turn them into blank magazines with the perk that does that. I think we can pretty well guess we are not going to get to level 50. At the end of this DLC, since we're only at level 15. since we found an acoustic guitar, I wonder if there is going to be a quest here where we have to find unique items, change frequencies. History's sake. So that was just a very out of the way log. And more machine codes. Interesting to grab things through the rails. Yeah, we can see the shadow of somebody. You can see a rad roach. I didn't trigger that. I don't know what did trigger it. Kill 10 seekers. Did I step on the bear trap? I'll use one thing just because I have some limb damage. I must have stepped on the bear trap. Oh, the vent here is an actual item. Interesting. Vents have never been containers before. I'm very much twisted around too, as far as just where I am and where I'm supposed to be. I'm probably doing well to have my companion with me, because I would suspect that the move here is to actually lose your companion and then have to run around on your own. Which I don't think I'd really struggle with that. As long as I have the cosmic knife, and it seems like the cosmic knife clean never gets dirty, which is what I kind of expected it would do. It is pathetically small amounts of XP we're getting, though, every time we do disarm one of these traps. This does look like the direction to go. Then this direction looks like a way to curve back. Now I would say, let's just make another safety save. We'll keep on doing this. I question whether
The idiot swallowed his collar.
yeah, I really question whether there's just going to be a place that turns off all radio signals everywhere, or if we're going to just get a perk that turns off radio signals everywhere. now. So was that a place where I could turn a radio off though? I can't find it. And I imagine me swinging knives wildly.
Finally.
We've got plenty of stim packs.
Finally.
So we can just heal them up. Oh, I think I saw it this time. Okay. So we'll run this direction. And then, there we go. Okay. That brings us back to standard gameplay mechanics now of just wandering around, searching. There's really not a lot here. Yeah, and in my effort to be thorough, I think I'm probably just wasting some time. So this just curved around back this way. Okay.
The idiot swallowed his collar.
Here we have a big open area that feels to me like this would be where a big boss fight would happen. And so maybe we're going to take on a group of them now with our companion, when the story and script really wanted you to take them all on your own. It also kind of feels like this might just be a somewhat pointless fast travel location, although I question that. We found a vent, and I suspect maybe we're supposed to hide something in the vent. I do have a slight concern here that I'm somewhat working with God as my companion here, and that is going to constitute betrayal enough that I end up with some kind of bad ending. This seems like this is a secondary experimentation medical location. What I was hoping for here would be something that would have turned off all of the other wine. Interesting. Wine cellars not in the game. Definitely could have been in the game. And is it just supposed to be too dark in this area that you can't see? Notice how there's kind of an animation there where it looked like the cloud itself left his body. I'm not your mummy.
Almost got away. Then the idiot's hunger screws it up.
I would assume dog does not get drunk if we gave him wine. We're not looking for some special wine to open the vents. Here we have black candles. In Fallout 3 there was a whole Cthulhu-esque, like, weirder encounter with more of an occult feel. I don't think the Fallout series really needs any horror or occult elements, though. I think that's just keep shifting the focus in the wrong direction. There is possibly room for a smaller Bethesda game built around scarier elements, but you have to recognize that a lot of gamers just don't want any horror in their games at all, particularly if they're not signing up for it. That horror games always sell a little less than what an action game can do, or an adventure or comedy or any other real genres, short of maybe adult games, which sell way less. Okay, I don't want to jump down to fight that guy, so I need him to jump up here and fight me. Meanwhile, he might be attacking my companion, hurting him. I think I would need to do a crippling shot if I was going to shoot him with a gun. I think my companion just went down there and took him out without me. This definitely feels like a section in BioShock. This is a great example of being over encumbered. Yeah. So my system is not flawless with the perks that I have still. Can take all these bear fist traps though and repair each other. That'll save me, I think, the majority of the weight. Nice spear. I think it is more valuable than throwing nice spears. So we can do that. Although I'm not sure that's really even saving me much of anything. And apparel. Sierra Madre helmet is definitely worth more than any of the other glasses. We can repair. Yeah, that's not really saving me a lot of weight, however. on the map. Like, we're approaching just like the very end of this map. I hear a radio. Okay. I think this is a radio that we're just gonna have to activate. Like that. A lot of this feels more like fighting arenas from multiplayer. This definitely feels like of that era. Multiplayer levels. Something you would expect to see in like Counter-Strike or Team Fortress, things like that. Update 68 bobby pins. Interesting, this radio is not enabled. It's just a visual distraction. Climb to a bell tower. Okay. So, seems like we probably we're supposed to go to this bell tower. Hologram rifle focusing lens. Super stim packs. Activate Gala event control panel.
This is the place you need to go when everyone is in place. Until then, nothing more than a diseased view of the Sierra Madre.
Okay. So you do get all these different angles and visions, and then they're blocking off any of the other sections. Okay. So that is the final location, and we've, I guess, made it convenient for me to reach this area now. I guess the question is, can we find the key? And have we managed to? How many coins, by the way, do we even have? Sitting around. Oh, I shouldn't have made 2 of those. That was pointless. Super stim pack would require 100 caps. That doesn't make any sense. I still am hearing enemies, so I assume there are enemies to be fought. See, this is the wrong direction. This was the right direction. I wasn't really expecting them to have gas bombs and be able to use them against me.
Couldn't leave well enough alone.
I don't think that's a respawn. These bathrooms still mostly useless, but at least in this DLC they're not completely empty. And I guess we're gonna have to end up ending this episode. We went out of our way to go the wrong direction, and then we got punished for it by not being able to actually progress in any way. This is a odd layout, to say the least.
Air tastes like copper. Or old world gold.
Did we go up here and search all of this? Yes, we did. This is the area I don't think we've searched the most.
Almost got away. And the idiot's hunger screws it up.
Okay. There's just another find the radio. There's 2 radios. There's 3 radios.
Couldn't leave well enough alone. It's your own fault you're here. Couldn't leave well enough alone.
There's a radio in there somewhere. I just need to find it. Where is it? What I'd like it to do is
The idiot swallowed
make
his collar.
different sounds depending on whether it's a radio on a table versus a radio in the overhead area. It's funny, you can just steal from the hologram vendor. And I have to just be really careful not to buy that mod. Let's see. It really just the same thing. Again, trading for pre-war items. And see, this was weird when they had holograms in that one spot in the main game, and it's weird to have holograms in this section because it's just not a thing in the Fallout universe anywhere else.
Air tastes like copper. Or gold. All of your weapons will do. And your stems.
Let's see. Just try and get rid of several items here into the inventory. embalming fluid. I don't know what that's all about. Guess the question is, do I have a whole bunch of really heavy items? Don't think I really do. It's not in the miscellaneous and the food item section. It's way easier simply to give.
Allying with you is already more of a burden than I can bear.
So Sierra Madre helmet and armor maybe makes me immune? That is a thought.
Allying with you is already more of a burden than I can bear. Allying with you is already more of a burden than I can bear.
So I guess I wonder if,
allying
you know,
with you
yeah, he's
is
just
already more of a burden than I can bear. Allying with you is already
so he's
more
full.
of a burden.
I wasn't quite understanding what that meant. Hollow rifle. Increasing the damage, modding it up. I'll probably end up selling the other mod.
Boy, maybe I'll tear it off your arm, wear it on my neck.
So his inventory is now full. So these stupid process I'm going through here, collecting everything, is just going to increasingly not work. Even though this is exactly what I would like to do. Because this game definitely feeds into the OCD mentality. It would be interesting, I suppose, story to tell to say that the you can just see that the world around in a video game is very poorly constructed. Can't actually climb down this area. So we didn't find the key.
That easily.
There is the key. And there we're out. And so this is a whole load sequence.
The idiot swallowed his collar.
In the cloud. And there's a whole bunch of water. Nope, don't drink water. There's just way too many Sierra Madre chips and you can't pick them up.
If we need to fight,
Okay.
you should call Dog out, as much as I hate to admit it.
So we started this level here. And all the bodies are here, even though we loaded in and out. And we've cleaned out a decent amount of the map as far as this whole section, which I imagine will be helpful. And we cleaned out most of this, so in the next episode we may get him to the switching station and just work our way through a shortcut back out in this direction, and then we'll do the next quest, which is going to be to put somebody in this area. And this area, from the looks of it, seems smaller, but it's kind of hard to tell. There is possibly an argument to becoming over encumbered, and yeah, don't do that. Taking all the items with you and dropping them all off in the central location before we assign dog or god, whichever character, into staying in the switching station. Yeah, and we're mostly just finding these kinds of codes. Here you have a reference to Bioshock in the Gunrunner's Arsenal DLC, so we know these DLCs were at least around the time of high enthusiasm for the Bioshock series, and this definitely feels like this is something that is taken completely from Bioshock, this whole one experience. Most of these challenges, I mean, I guess we're making progress on some of these, like melee weapons, but then a lot of this is specific in that you could only have done it at specific points. I suppose it's also worth mentioning that with the Fallout TV series, there are a lot of people still talking about Fallout New Vegas on Reddit in particular. They're getting to the front page, and one of the things that they are talking about, interesting, why is there now a fourth radio signal? Like, one of the things they talk about, the Legion path, playing as Caesar, is apparently really bad. They never get to a point where they trust you and let you carry weapons inside the Legion's location. A lot of these, like, achieve speech failures, for instance, if there was an actual achievement for that, which there probably isn't. It's probably just the Gunrunners challenges. But yeah, there's no way you're gonna have 100 speech failures unless you play with a very low intelligence character, like very, very low intelligence. All these ghost quests or challenges are from this DLC, obviously. And here's one from the Lonesome Road DLC that we didn't finish. Complete challenges in general. So yeah. These challenges are definitely hidden far too much in the whole menu for you to see them or care about them. Perks playing very little of a role here. Maybe my Scrounger perk is getting me a few more items, but I don't think the items are particularly that important. We're not changing anything as far as our relationship with the factions, nor are we really making any major progress towards any of the general quests. It definitely feels to me like this DLC is just so separate from everything else that once we finished it, I maybe will run around the whole world just to make sure I've seen some things, or maybe to run around with a Fat Man gun shooting off mini nukes, but that's about all I think I could really do after finishing this DLC. I just don't think there's going to be any more content that can possibly be done. Anyways, we already have gone long. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and keep on watching. Thanks.